Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. You know, since the dawn of the automotive age, there's always been the bar napkin argument of what is the perfect and pure sports car. A lot of people believe in the ideal of a light, inexpensive, unfettered and simple rear-wheel drive sports car that's affordable enough that anyone can buy one. And well, Scion and Subaru have delivered this car, which is the Scion FRS and the Subaru BRZ. It's rear-wheel drive, got about 200 horsepower. It's very simple. It doesn't come with a lot of features that you don't need. It's just really a down to basic sports car. So does it fit the bill? Does it meet that bar napkin argument? Let's find out. The Scion FRS and Subaru BRZ share a nearly identical look save for a few small details in the fascias and fender ornamentation. The company surprisingly really didn't choose to take any innovations to separate their identities at all. The style is distinctly Japanese, however, and shares a lot of heritage with sports car design DNA of the 1970s and even back to the 1960s with the Toyota 2000 GT. The modern interpretation of the Scion FRS has a deep front fascia and headlamp scheme that's right in line with the rest of the Toyota model lineup. Its 17-inch alloy wheels are also shared with the Subaru BRZ and don't get too aggressive in looks or grip with their 215 45R17 Michelin Primacy HP tires. The cockpit fits the sports car mold near perfectly. It's simple and down to business with seats made to hold you tight like a fist. They're comfortable and wear well over long drives with a cloth fabric that mimics suede to some degree. Overall, the Scion FRS's interior is actually pretty well designed. It's laid out very much like you'd expect in a sports car. It's got a nice low feel. When you're sitting in it, you're actually sitting in this car and not on it. And these seats here are very comfortable. I really love these seats. I do wish they'd offer leather in this, and I know they have a special edition this year that does offer leather, but I wish it were a regular option. And I understand Scion's mono-spec program, but with a sports car like this, I think it'd be nice if they did have some standalone options, such as that leather interior. There are a couple things for me to pick on in here, and the first one is sort of a lack of an armrest here. There's this sort of hole here that has a cup holder insert, and it can be moved around and taken out, but the bottom line is when you lay your arm here, you've got your arm laying on this hard plastic cup holder. And when it comes to hard plastic, yes, we've got some hard plastic in here, and while I do complain about that in some cars, in here for around about a $25,000 sports car, I don't find it so offensive, because at the end of the day, what you're paying for with the FRS is a rear-wheel drive sports car, not a lot of stuff. So I think that isn't out of place. The audio system I found is a bit lacking as well in both its sound quality and ease of use. The touchscreen has small buttons which are slow to respond, and the menus offer little detail in adjusting sound metrics. Luckily, it's got an aftermarket double DIN mounting format, so it can be replaced. Headroom is surprisingly good once you slink down low to get in the car. Adjusting the seat also takes little time to get there. The rear seat is classic 2+2 sports car, which means it's really for groceries or a small pet. Handling is sublime, if not downright nailed on target. Despite its rather humdrum tires, which it actually shares with the Toyota Prius, grip is well matched to the chassis tune. The suspension is compliant for a good ride, but offers excellent response and cornering feel. Steering is weighted well for curvy roads and has enough feel to give you confidence both on the back roads as well as the road course. Brakes are somewhere between adequate and above average, only heating up with fade after a good deal of abuse. Under the hood is something different for a Scion or Toyota, a 2-liter flat 4-cylinder boxer engine sourced from Subaru. It does have some Toyota tweaks, however, including a D4S fuel injection system which features both port and direct fuel injection. The result of that fuel injection system and a high 12.5:1 compression ratio is some 200 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 151 pound-feet of torque at a pretty heady 6,400 RPM. comes to sports cars, you always want a nice sound. But unfortunately, this engine doesn't have sound. It's got noise. And that's a pretty big distinction. Sound is something you like. It sounds good. Noise is something that doesn't sound good. And this engine is just a noisy box of rocks. And to add to that problem, it's also an engine that doesn't have hardly any power unless you rev it out to the very top of its rev range. And that's where the noise is. You've just really got to get it up there to get any power out of it. And that might be fine on a racetrack, but if you're around town going from stoplight to stoplight, it's just not any fun at all. Despite the gripes about noise and drivability, we achieved a pretty impressive 31 miles per gallon combined in our week with the FRS. Considering its EPA ratings are 22 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway, and only 25 miles per gallon combined, this is pretty commendable. The big takeaway for me this week with the Scion FRS is simply this. It almost meets every single thing on that list for what is a perfect sports car. It's simple, it's inexpensive, it's got rear-wheel drive, it handles well, it looks good, but the one thing it's missing is an engine that you can really enjoy. As we talked about, this engine just really needs either a turbocharger or it just needs a completely different engine. It's noisy, it lacks torque and drivability. It certainly lacks a fun-to-drive character. So for this week, I give this car 2.5 out of 5 stars. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.